Hello. We're moving on to chapter 13 in Save Me a Seat, and we're going to see how Ravi recovers from his disaster in math class. After my failure to impress Mrs. Beam with my Vedic math, and then the tripping episode, I can hardly wait for the morning to be over. At lunch, I will sit with Dylan Samreem and the other boys and come up with a plan for how to put Bigfoot in his place. Joe. One time at Vidya Minder, a boy named Hassan stole a pair of leather batting gloves from my sports bag. My friends and I caught up with him after school and pushed him into a corner until he cried like a baby and gave back the gloves. Please take out your social studies textbooks and open to page 10, Mrs. Beam tells us. Who would like to read the first paragraph to the class? Dylan starts waving his hand in the air, but Mrs. Beam chooses the boy called Keith Campbell instead. Most Native Americans were forced to leave New Jersey during the 1700s, Keith reads. Descendants of New Jersey Native American people hid or... He stops for the next word. The word is assimilated, said Mrs. Beam. Class, repeat after me. We say it together. Assimilated. Can anyone tell me what the word means? Mrs. Beam asks. Mine is the only hand that goes up. Yes, Ravi, said Mrs. Beam. I start to stand up, but catch myself in time. I have been awarded another chance to impress Mrs. Beam, and I am not going to give her any reason to find fault with me. Assimilate, to consume and incorporate nutrients into the body after digestion, I say confidently. Mrs. Beam smiles, but she has that pity look again. I'm sorry, Ravi, she said. I'm afraid I couldn't understand you because of your accent. You're going to need to speak more slowly in class if you want to be understood. Poor Ravi. My face burns. Is there nothing I can do right? But I refuse to give up. I swallow my pride and try again. Assimilate, I say slowly, swirling my tongue around the words to make them sound more American. To consume and incorporate nutrients into the body after digestion. Thank you, Ravi, Mrs. Beam says, but the pity look is still there. In this context, however, the word assimilate means to try to fit in. Don't feel bad. It was a very good guess. A guess? Is that what she thinks? My answer was correct. I'm 100% certain of it. I have a photographic memory. I can still see the definition from my 4th grade science notebook clearly in my mind. Mrs. Beam asked Keith Campbell to continue with his reading. Descendants of New Jersey Native American people hid or assimilated into white society. Very good, Keith, Mrs. Beam says when he has finished reading. Then she looks around the room. Who would like to read the next paragraph? How about you, Joe? Bigfoot practically falls out of his chair. No way, he blurts. Excuse me? Said Mrs. Beam. His eyebrows are twitching like electrified caterpillars. That's a good description. Mrs. Aaron, electrified caterpillars. That just sounds so funny. Mrs. Aaron would never have allowed a student to speak to her that way. I wonder what Bigfoot's punishment will be. But just then the door opens and a woman with white hair like a mop sticks her head in. I'm here for Joe, she says. I'll keep him for the rest of the afternoon if that's all right. That will be fine, said Mrs. Beam. Oh, and did you get my note about our new student? I think he could use a little help. Could this mop top be Mrs. Frost, I wonder? I did get your message. If you want, I can take him right now, said Mrs. Mop Top. The two of us can get acquainted, and if it seems like a formal assessment is in order, we can deal with the paperwork later. What is she talking about? Ravi, said Mrs. Beam. Go with Miss Frost and Joe, please. I look up at the clock. 11:25. What about lunch? I ask. You can eat with Joe and me, said Mrs. Frost. Did you buy school lunch or bring it from home? From home, I say softly. I don't want to eat my lunch in the resource room with Mop Top and Bigfoot. I want to go to the lunchroom with my friend. Ravi, said Mrs. Beam. Miss Frost is here to help you. Please take your things and go with her. Hurry up now. I want to, 1, tell her I don't need help. 2, show her that she is the one who doesn't know the meaning of assimilation. 3, insult her hairy caterpillar eyebrows. But here's what I do instead. Sigh loudly, put my things in the backpack, go and get my tiffin box. So it was Mrs. Beam's eyebrows who were twitching like electrified caterpillars. I love that description. Poor Ravi. We'll see what happens, and if things start to get a little more comfortable for him at Einstein Elementary School. So that was chapter 13. Next, we'll hear from Joe. Until next time.